everyone. Today we got to play The Rich and the Good by Ares Games. This is strictly a stock market game, but before we get into it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell because board games are amazing, and that's what we do here at Legends of Nirvana. Now, Randy, can you tell us a little bit more about The Rich and the Good?
I can. This is actually a 2008 release, which I was surprised to see because this was a new pickup at Gen Con this year. But it was originally called Hab and Gut, and it's actually printed on the box as such. So this got currently a Board Game Geek rating of 7.1 and a rank of 1542. It's a 3 to 5 player game. The rules do have like a variant where you can make it 2-player. I probably would never play it that way.
I wouldn't.
45 minutes in length, age 10 and up. That's probably about right just because it's managing the market and trying to understand the financial idea of things. 10 is probably about the minimum. Designed by Carlo A. Rossi. Art is by Michael Menzel and Christoph Tisch. As you mentioned, it was published by Ares Games. It's an economic investment and hand management game. It has an MSRP of $39.90. Card House has it, but it's not in stock currently for $27.95. The cheapest in stock is Tabletop Merchant at $27.49. Game Nerds has it $27.97. But Card House is apparently going to get it back in stock because it's got a notification to say notify me when it returns. So any one of those three.
All right, so let's talk about quality of components. So there's these were not part of it.
We replaced. Yeah, they have this really bad paper money. So we used our poker chips. We'll never use that.
And then non-linen finish cards, but they are good thickness. So, I mean,
you'll probably want to sleeve these other cards though, because you're going to shuffle these a lot more. Those you're just dealing out and you're not really shuffling those.
Correct. And then you have these interesting barrel. I mean, I don't know what these are. Barrels?
Yeah, I would call them barrels, although they have a rounded tip at the top. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be, but they work really well.
Yeah, I think they're really pretty, actually.
The first player marker looks like a little mushroom. I'm not sure exactly what it's supposed to be. Maybe a doorbell.
Maybe you got it backwards and it's supposed to be a top hat.
Oh, it could be. Yeah, maybe it is a top hat. You're right. Maybe it's that way. That would probably make a little more sense. Although it's an odd-shaped top hat. It kind of swirls out.
I don't know. I was going with it.
Yeah, and you have like these Scrabble card holders that work really well. As long as you turn them the right way, the notch has to go one way. It's not straight up and down. Yeah.
So overall quality and components, I'm going to give this a 7. I really do like these pieces, and I do like the fact that it has the card holder, but the money kind of sucks. So.
Yeah, the board actually does have a linen finish. I'll probably give it a 6.5. I don't think there's anything. So these player boards have a linen finish, but oddly, it's on the back side. Well, I guess it's got a slight linen finish, but they put the part of the game that you're going to use on the back side of it, which is kind of strange. There's no function on the other side. They're all the same. They have some pretty art on them, but we'll get into that with the theme. So, yeah, I think 6.5 is probably about where I'm at.
All right, so let's go into theme. So you've got some art. You have all these people around the stock market, at the bidding board, as well as these beautiful charity scene on the back, as well as some art on the front. I actually like the art. I think it's actually really good. It's very thematic. There's not a lot of it because there's not a lot of pieces, but what is there is done well.
Yeah, it's mostly about managing these commodity prices, and there's not much art to the cards. It's the icons of the thing. There's some background art that goes along with how the product is produced. But I do like the back of it. Looks like kind of like a newspaper thing, not colonial, but like early industrial. Newspaper, so that's pretty cool. I'm probably at a 7 on this one just because of the look and feel of it. I don't think there's anything outstanding as far as theme about it because it is purely a stock market game.
Right, correct. I think that's where I'm at as well. All right, so then moving on to the rule book. How was the rule book?
Well, the rule book is. I was expecting this game to be a little more advanced than it was.
It was not.
It was not. It's a kind of a 4-page, if you want to call it that, but it's a single fold. It's super easy to learn this game. It does have a picture of how to set it up with all of the the pieces. It doesn't have contents. Well, it does kind of have, yeah, I guess it does have contents that are built into the setup. So you've got pictures of it, so it works fine. The gameplay, it's so simple. This is all you need. You don't need cheat sheets for it because it is so simple. I think it does a fine job getting into the game as fast as you can possibly get in, and I think this is a great rule book for what this game is. I'll give it a 9. There's not much to take off for.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so now let's talk about the actual game itself. So at the beginning of the round, I'm going to choose whether to buy or sell 3 different commodities. Now, at the moment, I actually don't have any commodities, so I'm going to be purchasing them.
And you start with 300 money.
Yeah, you start with 300 money. We're going to move that up.
Well, everything would start at
right.
40 as far as the base cost.
All right, so I'm going to look at the board and figure out what is going to be a good price. So I'm looking at the leaves, and I'm going to be thinking, well, right now it's really, really low, so I'm going to end up purchasing 3 of those. So I'm going to spend $10 a piece, and I'm going to get 3 of the tea leaves. So the other thing I'm going to be looking at, besides the purchasing price that's going for right now, I'm going to be looking at the insider trading. So on each side of me, there'll be a set of cards that I'll be looking at. Now, for the tea, I can see that there is a +4 here, a +4 here, and a -6 there. But I can mitigate some of that negativity because I can choose half on an item when I go to play on that round. So I'm going to buy 3 tea, knowing that there is a lot of pluses. So I'm going to buy the 3 tea, spent my money already, took the tokens. Now, Randy, he's going to either purchase or sell.
And I would have knowledge of this side, and I would have the person on my other side who also would have a board between us. So I would see 2 different, well, one the same and one different if I was sharing this side with Miranda. So I would see the tea is going to go up by 2, and maybe I see over here it's going to go down by 6 over here. So based on that knowledge, I may not want to invest in tea, so I would buy something else. So, you're getting bits and pieces of information. Now, it's also, like Miranda mentioned, it can be affected by how people play it. So if I really wanted tea, because it's so cheap, I could buy it and try to mitigate that -6.
Correct. So in that case, once he did his purchasing and everyone else did their purchasing or selling, then it would come back to me and I would choose 1 card on my left and 1 card on my right. One of them has to be full and one of them has to be halved. So, and I get to choose that. So I am going to mitigate that. I'm going to take this 6, make it half. I'm going to take this 4 and make it whole. So it would actually net a +1. So
Yep.
I would move it up 1. Okay. And then Randy would take his turn picking 1 card on each side of him as well. That's the game.
Nope. You left out a very key thing. When you purchased your cards, or you have the option, instead of purchasing to sell, you have the option of contributing to charity. And it's important you do so because at the end of the game, whoever has donated the least to charity is going to get eliminated from the game as far as scoring goes. So you play the whole game, but you will not get to score at the end, which is very frustrating if you've invested all this time trying to win and you find out you've lost because you didn't contribute the most. So, and the stock prices, because you're contributing stocks, if they go down, your investment to charity also goes down. And I thought that was a very interesting aspect of the game.
Yeah, because they don't sell it until the end of the round. Now, the end of the round is triggered when all the cards are played. There are 2 rounds in the game, so you'll get 2 different sets of these cards. And that's the game. Overall, I mean, it was a fine stock market game, but it is a one-trick pony.
Yeah, it is definitely a one-trick pony, but I think it's a very good trick. I was surprised with as little of rules as there are, how much strategy there was to this game. Even though it's very simple, you're just making some selections, but with the involvement of having that inside knowledge on both sides, I thought that was very interesting and unique. It's not something I've seen in any other game. So yeah, I've seen games where you share common things like goals and targets for things, but not where you share actual cards that you're playing on either side.
Right, because your person could take a card that you want and half it, or do something wonky with it. No, I agree with that. I thought that was an interesting mechanism. I'm used to games that have a little bit, when you're talking about stock market games, they're typically a lot more A lot more. There's a lot more to them. However, if you're trying to introduce somebody to a stock market kind of thing, like if you're easing people in, this is a great easement.
Oh yeah, this is definitely a good entry level stock market game.
Yeah, I agree with that. So scoring wise, what would you give this a score?
I'm probably going to give this a 7.5. I think it's for what it is. I mean, this is definitely not a hardcore for the people who are like the 18xx games. This is definitely not for that crowd. But if you are someone who enjoys, trying out new strategies, new mechanics, I should say, that you haven't had exposure to the stock market, this is definitely a game for you. It's a quick game to the table. It's quick to teach, and everyone who played it, besides maybe you, was very interested and enjoyed this game.
Well, I will say though that this would be great for a high school. It fits the time frame and everything that you would need to do in a high school class.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a lot of educational value with this. Here's my thing is they could have done something really interesting as far as thematic goes. Specifically with giving what actually happened to raise it or minus it, like famine or whatever. I think there's things that they could have do to make it a little more interesting, but then maybe making it a little bit more complex and not as easy to learn. I don't know. But I can't say that. I'm going to go a little bit lower than you not because it was a good solid game. I just didn't enjoy it as much as you guys did.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to probably give it a 6.75 because Randy guilted me when I said 6.5.
Well, your score is your score. I just felt like this deserved more. I think it's, the fact that it's ranked at 1,500 plus on here. Granted, I didn't realize it was from 2008 originally, but it's held the test of time. And, therefore, I think I was surprised kind of both pleasantly and unpleasantly about the complexity of this game. I was expecting something meatier. It wasn't as meaty as I expected, but when I played it, I was like, that's okay. Actually, I liked it the way it was. So I was not in the end disappointed by the simplicity of this game.
Yeah. So, well, hey, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Everyone at the table enjoyed it. I was the only one that was a little bored. And so, and that's, whatever. My ADD gets the best of me all the time. Not going to lie. There isn't a lot of things going on. I don't know. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We had an absolute blast, and hopefully you're coming out with us again. We'll catch you guys later.
Bye.